Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today we'll be talking about XML PM and how Canada is joining the structured product movement. I'm here with my colleague, Gilles Dureau, who is the Senior Director of Global Life Sciences Solutions here at I4I.
And I'm here with Jacqueline Brunner, our Senior Director of Encoding Technology. So today, we thought we'd give you an overview of structured initiatives worldwide and how this movement is beneficial to all players, the end users, the regulatory agencies, and the sponsors. We'll take a specific look at Health Canada's XML PM initiative and how it can streamline your processes and timelines.
We'll start with an overview of the structured initiatives that are advancing worldwide. There's a worldwide push for structured content. We have XML PM and SPL in North America, IDMP SPOR and EPI mainly in Europe, and XML JPI in Japan. All these initiatives are in the domain of product labels, but we also see structured content appearing in other life sciences domains. The FDA has a PQCMC initiative for CMC information, and CASA for helping in assessing dossiers. Common protocol templates are used for clinical trials, and FHIR is used for exchanging structured messages. We'll go into more detail about these later.
Outside of pure structured initiatives, other jurisdictions are progressing on standardizing labeled content or are taking advantage of electronic submissions to repurpose the labeled content. Here are a group of countries that are federating resources to follow not only identical templates, but also the same labeled content. The Persian Gulf countries with documents in Arabic and English, CENCA, the Central America and Caribbean countries with documents in Spanish, South African countries with documents mainly in English, and Western African countries with documents in French. Now, all these countries have come together in their groups to accept the exact same content for the product label. Also, in the Asia-Pacific area, in 2019, Singapore introduced guidance for electronic labeling, including the package insert and the patient information leaflet, so that a machine-readable code or URL on the carton would link to a secure system where the product information is available in digital format. Taiwan is also posting the labeling information on the Taiwan Food and Drug Administration website with an app to connect the mobile phones to this site with a 2D barcode that can be scanned on drug cartons. Australia and the ASEAN countries from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations are also currently cooperating to define and adopt standards for labeling text. We can categorize the main structured initiatives into two conceptual groups, even though there might be a bit of an overlap between these groups. Some initiatives are centered on structuring documents, where the meat of the information is still contained in human-readable paragraphs that are forming documents. On the other side, we have initiatives that are mainly data-centric, where the information is more adapted to exchanging information across databases and where the textual content is actually very limited. This does not mean that the information cannot be found somewhere else in a document format, but the main purpose of these initiatives is not to add structure to these existing documents.
SPL was adopted by the FDA for all CEDAR labeling submissions in 2005 as a mechanism to exchange drug product and facility information. Its scope has widened over the years, and it now covers everything from prescription and OTC products to cosmetics, medical foods and devices, veterinary medicines and feeds, risk evaluation and mitigation strategy documents, and data such as facility registrations and reports and lot distribution data. SPL uses controlled vocabularies and are full of valuable metadata. While XML PM is a newer initiative, Health Canada has had the fortune to be able to piggyback on the proven SPL initiative from the United States, while still being able to keep our Canadian flavor by including things such as DIN numbers, therapeutic classes, pharmaceutical standards, and of course our bilingualism. Just like SPL in the US, the XML PM uses controlled vocabularies and is packed with metadata. While the SPL in the US and the XML PM in Canada both use the SPL standard, Japan does things a little differently by using the PMDA schema to hold package insert information. Metadata holds the product composition, properties and co-administration properties, and again, controlled vocabularies are used. The interesting thing about the JPI is the use of two sets of track changes to manage and display the current and previous version revisions. E-labeling was made official in Japan in December of 2019, and implementation began in August of 2021. Paper labeling will be eliminated from commercial packs.
The common protocol templates are also known as the transliterate templates. These templates were developed in 2015, but newer templates were later added for statistical analysis plans and clinical study reports to form a more complete suite of templates for clinical trials. These templates are following the guidelines from the regulatory bodies, and they have an e-version of these templates to add automation and reuse through the use of VBA macros. Now, we move to the more data-centric model initiatives, and we have IDMP SPORE, which is defining a reliable exchange mechanism for medicinal product information. IDMP itself is a set of 5 ISO standards to cover human products. SPORE is a master data mechanism that covers 4 domains: substances, products, organizations, and referentials, and it could apply to both human and veterinary products. The first implementation phase for this initiative in the EU and in the European Economic Area is to replace the XEVPRM reporting system.
FHIR, FHIR, is a hot-sounding acronym that stands for Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources. This XML standard, brought to us by the same organization that brought us SPL, leverages existing models to provide a mechanism for exchanging electronic health records between healthcare applications. The first draft of the FHIR specification came out in 2014, and the first normative version was released in 2019.
PQCMC is also an HL7 project. It originated by the FDA, and it's to standardize elements and terminologies for submitting pharmaceutical quality, PQ, and chemistry, manufacturing, and control, CMC data. This is usually included in the ECD Module 3 of the product. It uses FHIR for resource definitions. A proof of concept was successfully conducted in 2019. It is interesting to see that the HL7, the FDA, the EMA, and Health Canada are partnering on this initiative for consistency. CASA, which stands for Knowledge Added Assessment and Structured Applications, is another initiative led by the FDA. It will be mainly used for pharmaceutical quality data and CMC information. The FDA receives a massive volume of this type of data, and CASA is a way for them to deal with this data efficiently while still accurately assessing product risk factors. CASA is in fact being designed to use a computer-based algorithm to calculate the inherent risk ranking scores. This started in 2018 with a focus on generic products, and it relied on the PQCMC and the FHIR initiatives that we have described before. And finally, the Electronic Product Information, or EPI, is a forthcoming structured initiative for the EU. Its purpose is to create an EU common standard based on FHIR for electronic product information. This initiative started in 2017 and is eventually supposed to cover all human medicine in the EU and in the European Economic Area, but so far without any legal obligation. A proof of concept was developed this year, and the results are a set of APIs to access the POC data, as well as a website showing the data. Now, we have categorized this initiative as data-centric because of the way the structure is internally built, focusing more on data than on the multiple structure of the documents. It does not. It still contains, the full content of the PAI. It still contains the SMPC, the Annex 2, labeling and package information. But it really sits as a bridge between the two types.
Why are so many people jumping on the structured product information bandwagon? Structured product information is a huge benefit to patients and healthcare providers. The most obvious one is the ability to access information in a variety of ways and to be assured that the information is the most up to date. The speed at which updates can be disseminated electronically versus paper labels means greater safety and confidence in the material. And as a bonus, electronic documents are more environmentally friendly. The ability to push personalized information in multiple formats in a preferred language means that patients and healthcare providers always have the latest information at their fingertips.
The searchability provided by structure means that these end users can also easily pull information when they need it. The ability to qualify information with structure means the results can be more meaningful. For example, you can target a search to be specific to indication or contraindication. Or as a physician, you can search, for example, the migraine treatment with a qualifier of pregnancy and lactose intolerance to pinpoint only those options that are suitable for your patient. For those patients and healthcare providers with audio or visual impairments, structured information facilitates different rendering that caters to their needs, whether by larger font size or with audio playback.
Not only does structured data benefit patients and healthcare providers, it also benefits the regulators. The adoption of standards means that there's an increased probability that the data will be exchanged with regulatory partners on an international scale. For example, the verification of data sent to smaller regulatory jurisdictions can piggyback on the verification done by those from larger markets to ensure consistency. Another example is comparing medications between jurisdictions in the case of a drug shortage to ensure compatibility. The machine data processing that can be done on structured data cuts down on the time the document is in the regulator's hands, and issues are flagged accurately and promptly.
Knowledge-aided assessments reduce the number of interactions required by the regulator with the sponsor companies to only those that are necessary. This ensures consistency between originator and generic submissions, past inspection data, and other historical information. Natural language processing, when combined with structured information, can also provide a more accurate analysis of the concepts discussed in structured documents. Having all this data held in machine processable metadata means that it can be shared and reused in an unlimited number of ways, allowing the regulator to quickly disseminate updates, including safety alerts, to downstream systems such as hospitals and insurance providers. The biggest winner from using structured data, however, could actually be the pharmaceutical companies themselves. Structured data can help reduce the amount of administration required for product labels and safety data. For example, in the US, the existing SPL and structured vaccine lot data can be automatically compiled to generate an almost complete lot distribution report ready for submission. Shorten approval timelines, both within the organizations and with the health authority, means significant cost savings. Having documents in an electronic format with a shortened review cycle, as does the potential to compile more documents automatically. The health authority can approve things more efficiently and faster with tools such as automatic validation and CASA, where an updated label can be compared to the approved one, or a generic label can be compared to the innovator label.
By having standard templates to work from, you not only know that the sections are in the correct order, but you also gain by having the template text. The heading text is fixed, as are the choices of standard statements. Working with standard text and templates means you get your content approved faster. We mentioned earlier about the automatic creation of lot distribution reports from SPL vaccine lot data, but there's also the possibility of populating labels from another source. For example, the composition section could come from CMC data. Machine data processing means that the headings can be automatically translated due to the use of controlled vocabularies. This ensures accuracy and also means it's cheaper and faster. There's no need to have that text translated. Another benefit of structure is that you can actually reuse content by using controlled vocabularies. This means no mistakes. You can be sure that you're saying the same things throughout all of your documents. Also, you can automatically reuse and repurpose content between labels. For example, drug products in Europe have a separate SMPC for each dosage strength. Because of this, you can reuse and repurpose the majority of the content between these related SMPCs, as the content is likely going to be the same.
And this helps in the next point, global consistency and compliance. Structured data gives you the confidence to know that your organization's product have a global governance that is okay. content can be compared across jurisdictions and document types. By having clearly identified semantic sections, they can be compared with equivalent sections of another jurisdictions or even back to the CCDS. Also, because XML is a recognized international standard and it is non-proprietary, it has a longer lifespan than word processing formats. For example, the aerospace industry has been using HTML and XML and XML since the early 90s. They can still update and maintain a huge amount of maintenance manuals created 30 years ago. In the meantime, word processing software has changed dramatically over the last 30 years. WordPerfect was once the dominant application, and now it's Microsoft Word. Who knows where things will be in another 30 years?
Finally, structure helps build global governance by allowing you to manage your business based on data extracted and aggregated from multiple files instead of from individual documents. The more data you have on hand, the better your reporting capabilities. And the more data you have, the better equipped you are to not miss commercialization opportunities. For example, if a new indication is added to a jurisdiction, you can make sure that it's added to the others. With XML PM, Health Canada is undertaking a large structured product initiative for human pharmaceutical, radiopharmaceutical, and biologic drugs. Let's look at how XML PM fits into the structured product framework. The backbone of XML PM are the rules associated with it. These rules are outlined in their guidance documents and inform how content is presented. The Health Canada style sheet, when applied to the XML PM files, ensures that the formatting is consistent between all product labels, making it easier for the consumer to read and also easier for the sponsor to adhere to. The style sheet takes care of all the formatting, so you don't have to worry about that. You only have to worry about the content. A structured XML file is used to implement the rules outlined by the Health Canada guidance documents. The XML holds the narrative content as well as the metadata associated with it. The narrative content is human readable with the use of the style sheet, while the metadata is machine readable.
Efficiency is a big part of XML PM. Submission of XML PM means that the verification of the rules and the terminology values is done quickly and efficiently. And because it's done by a computer, consistency is ensured. Finally, XML PM is the ability to provide both the product monogram's content and metadata in a way that is easily accessible by the public in different formats and catering to different needs. Print, web, and web-based applications are all available. XML inherently has a number of strengths that we have already talked about, but XML PM, due to its foundation in the traditional product monograph, offers its own unique benefits.
For example, because product monographs have traditionally adhered to Health Canada templates, systems can import or convert this content into the structured XML PM format. The rules that govern the structure of the XML PM can be utilized to automate the process of converting from unstructured to structured content. Controlled vocabularies offer consistency within labels and between different labels. Using controlled vocabularies means that there will never be any syntax errors. And more consistency in the terminologies means the data can be better utilized by both Health Canada and external systems, but also in-house.
XML PM also enhances the relationship between the French and the English labels. You can ensure that your French and English terminology values correspond to each other. And because the XML PM files use standard headings, they are automatically translated based on the values from the authorized controlled vocabularies. Health Canada is using a three-phased approach to rolling out the XML PM initiative. Phase 1 allowed the sponsors to work with Health Canada and get their feet wet with the XML PM format. This phase was also when the 2020 product monograph template became aligned with the XML PM narrative text structure, and when controlled vocabulary terms were mandated for use. Phase 2, which is the phase we are currently in, allows anyone to voluntarily submit XML PM files. The XML PM is now in full production, and it means you can file it in Module 1 of your ACTD sequence.
The next phase, Phase 3, will bring with it the requirement that all human pharmaceutical, radiopharmaceutical, and biologic drug product monographs be submitted in the XML PM format. The date hasn't been announced, but when it is, We expect that there's going to be very little lead time before XML PM is the only acceptable submission format. We've talked about the global structured product movement and how Health Canada's XML PM fits in. Now, of course, we will also want to tell you about how I4I can help your company progress with this initiative. We have 3 offerings that cover every approach to XML PM you can think of. First, we have A4L Professional, which is our desktop offering. This application uses Microsoft Word, which you're probably all very familiar with, to help you author your XML PMs. You can edit your XML PMs in Microsoft Word and use the added features built into A4L to add the required metadata, validate and publish your files according to Health Canada's requirements.
A4L Enterprise is an extension of A4L Professional. You still have the desktop application, but you also have the addition of a complete document management system that also assists you with content reuse, translation management, submission management, and much more.
And finally, for those organizations that want to outsource some or all of their PM conversions to XML PM, we have a team of regulatory specialists that can do that for you. We get your documents in the XML PM format and ensure they're valid, and all you have to do is submit them. You barely have to lift a finger. For more information on any of these offerings or any other questions, please contact our sales team at sales@i4i.com.
And I want to thank you everyone for their time today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.